All right, so we were joking. If you heard an outburst of laughter, it was me saying, "You guys are seriously going to make me go up there and just say we hate all of them?" And that's basically what we're doing. It's not that bad, but as we started talking through these, we tried to summarize the Dan Larimer proposal and the kind of community/New York/Monkey Potatoes proposal. We had some people in the group that hadn't completely read them all, and that was like one of the first takeaways. They're complex. This stuff is hard. This is very difficult. It's one of the points that we didn't like. It's too complex to figure out. And I made the point that, well, so is a nuclear reactor. So sometimes just because it's complex doesn't mean it's wrong, but it's still a challenge, especially in these complex economic systems, because you could have unintended consequences. So really, we tried to do a pros and cons, and we ended up just getting a lot of cons. And it's easy to do cons, it's a lot harder to provide solutions. So personally, I'm not going to take that as completely, this is all terrible. It's just, that's our initial reaction. And so when you put out a new version of Facebook, people don't like change, they hate it. And then eventually they like it and they don't care anymore. So maybe there's some of that, maybe not. But we did kind of highlight some concerns we have. Lack of incentive to do good with your vote. You're no longer kind of rewarded by your vote, basically, in the Monkey Potatoes. There was a lot of discussion about one token, one vote, and how it doesn't really change as far as the math goes when you split up 30 votes for one token, or one token for one vote, because you can just split the accounts. And I know this is important to say one token, one divisible vote, because that was brought up many, many, many times in the community, but there was a discussion that really doesn't matter all that much, even though it's a little burn when you try to participate in the governance. Let's see, we've got taking away the incentives for, compared to the other situations, other chains that have kind of like a proof of work or some kind of mining operation. It was kind of like, it didn't make as much sense. If there's other places that are much better, you would just go to the other places anyway. And so, yeah, we had a little bit of trouble coming up with the positives for this, although we did say we like that people are putting things out there. That was one of the only positives we get, is people are trying. And this, I know, is a lot of work that went into this. We need to have more and more positive things going out there that we can try. As far as Dan Larimer's proposal, there's and just to summarize it, if there's a lockup period, anything from a few months to 10 years, and the idea was, well, it's not really going to matter because you can just create a derivative on your lockup token and sell the derivative, and then you might even get into a fractional reserve situation. So it's kind of like, maybe it's not really going to help as much as we think. So that was a concern. It doesn't reward the value providing VPs. It gives we did think as a positive, this is one positive we did find. It gives the value that the smaller stakeholders, gives them a little bit greater say. That just because they have a smaller say, they still get a little, a smaller stake, but they get a little more influence on the system than they do in the current model, was what we're thinking is possibly going to happen. So the shared idea behind all of this is this desire for the user representation of the smaller account holders to be represented, but we also talked about this skin in the game concept, that we want the people with the most skin in the game, and this is kind of the definition of DPoS, to be fully represented to protect their investment. And we were discussing how one of the big problems with EOS mainnet as it's running as a DPoS chain is a lot of people are essentially voting without their own tokens. They're not using their own skin in the game, they're using someone else's tokens, and that again could happen with the derivative as well. So we're kind of thinking through that and saying, maybe the problem is just, again, the exchanges having that value. Now, we did agree that the intention of this is the people that don't have skin in the game, the people that are speculating, people with the liquid tokens are going to pay for everything. It's like, if you don't want to commit to a lockup period, if you don't want to commit to, in the Monkey Potatoes, actually having to spend some of your inflation to do the governance, and you just want to get your token, well, that's fine, but you're going to have to pay for things. And the idea that those who actually are here for the long term, those who want to create value in the network, that they're going to be rewarded. So again, I wish I had more positive information, because I know these are some really smart people in our community working on this stuff, including the inventor of DPoS. And maybe in a few months we'll feel differently, because this is brand new right now. But again, I think the consensus we came to in our little group, at least if you could call it consensus, maybe it was just a lot of loud voices, was that we like ideas are being discussed. But I think this is an invitation to our community to keep trying, keep going. I mean, maybe there's something here that is valuable, and we should take out pieces that we think aren't valuable. Maybe there's just pieces that need to be tweaked. I mean, really, these have just been represented to the community. Now's our time to talk and speak up about it. Maybe even get there and get specific. This part has these problems. Let's change it this way. Hopefully, we can have more solutions and not just complaints. That's what we're trying to go for. So, thank you.